turn around, now let me see it from behind. Now let's go. Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
Welcome folks to the first ever video blog in the history of Sri Lankan sports journalism, the BoomShakalaka show, brought to you here on TheScore.lk, and I am your host Anup Kappa. And let me just lay it down to you as to what this show is all about. It's about sport, the sport that we all love, be it rugby, cricket, swimming or racing, you name it, we got it on our show. And what I'm going to try to do rather, is to bring to you the news as I say it. It's going to be brutally honest, that's what I stand for. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because I'm not Willy Wonka, but I'm going to say it as I say it. So it's going to be good, stay tuned and hope you enjoy it.
Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
So first up, it's club rugby. We had the league tournament and the knockouts finishing off last week. We had Havies taking the league title after such a long time, dethroning long-standing champions Kandy, which is a good thing as a whole if you look at it for club rugby and Sri Lankan rugby. The rivalry is starting to freshen up, new rivalries occurring, good competition happening, and people fighting for what they think they deserve. And then we had the Clifford Cup knockout tournament. At that point, Kandy had some revenge to be taken, if I may say so, and at the finals they kind of outsmarted Havies just by a little margin, but still they came out victorious, and Kandy once again retained the Clifford Cup, which they have been doing for so long. So as a whole, the rugby club rugby tournament and the league and the knockouts all together, the club rugby scene in Sri Lanka has opened up a bit. It's wider now. You can't call favorites at any given point. Unfortunately though, you see teams like CRNFC and CHNFC falling back really far behind now, and you see teams like Havelocks and Army and Navy together with Upcountry Lions and Kandy just moving to the fore now. New teams coming in, joining the heavyweights of yesteryear as well, but unfortunately that means teams that were at the top a couple of years back have fallen back really far behind. All in all, I think that can be a good thing. Fresh legs we've seen on the park for a lot of teams, new people wearing jerseys that they would have been wanting to wear as kids. I see the Sandung Herats playing for Havies, the Me Deans playing for Havies. It's a nice thing to see. We have new faces in UCL, in Kandy jerseys, so it's always nice to have these new kids coming in and playing with the really old horses of local rugby. So nothing much to complain as far as I'm concerned about the club rugby league tournament, but when it came to the Clifford Cup, the knockouts, I thought something was really fishy. We had Havelock Sports Club playing one of the quarterfinals that they were part of against Army at Havies in their home ground. Usually when it comes to the Clifford Cup tournament, no team gets the home ground advantage, but somehow or the other, beats me how it happened. Havies ended up playing at Havelock Park. They came out victorious, and I don't think the home ground advantage played that big a deal or that big a part in their victory, because Havies was always the favored team, the more talented. They had more skill in them, they had better players, they had better game plan, and I don't think it played that much of a effect, or had much of an effect rather, as far as the result is concerned. But having said that, if there is a certain practice in place, I don't understand how and why someone could go beyond it, cross the line and say, look here, we'll have the game here. I know it's one team's home ground, so be it, let's play the game, and that being a quarter-final, mind you, play it at a club's home ground. A bit fishy, but all in all, I don't think that made much of an effect, as I said. But one thing to look out for, and did raise quite a few eyebrows in the media circle and the sports-loving public. So the other thing that I want to talk to you about, what I've noticed during the Clifford Cup knockout tournament, is some of the old players, if I may say so, the old war horses of Sri Lankan rugby, who played for numerous teams in the club division, in the club league, that from for me, have lost a bit of their golden touch. We saw a lot of players making a lot of mistakes and not living up to the expectations of the crowd. I've seen them, I've grown up looking at them and admiring their skills, playing their hearts out, being really good, having really good skill level, had really good stamina, had really good strength, and had really good sense of awareness as to what they were doing on the field. But unfortunately this season I saw a couple of players especially who have kind of lost their touch, their golden touch, and were actually holding their team back, in my opinion. We all saw what happened to UCL in the semi-finals against Havis. Havis kind of had a lucky break there, a free pass if I may say so, a narrow escape from defeat at the semi-finals and moved on to meet Kandy in the finals somehow, and that was all due to disarray of a kick that Radhika Hettiarachchi attempted, easy by his standards or anyone's standards, but just couldn't make it. That was a horrendous kick, and all in all what I've seen from Radhika is just half of what he is or half of what he was good 5-6 years ago. I don't think as a back, as a three-quarter, he's got what it takes now to stick around in club rugby. He's been a stalwart of Sri Lankan rugby, no questions asked. He's 1,000 times better than half of the people that we've seen, but I think his time has now come. He's trying to be by the looks of it, it's turning out to be a whole Sanat Jayasuriya situation here. You can't get rid of him. He's well known, he's been long for a long time, but he's not willing to walk out as well. But it's high time that somebody had a word with him. He can do wonders at the technical bench or coaching bench, get the young crowd moving, get involved in rugby, keep him involved in rugby. He's a good person to have around, but just like what a lot of people have done after playing club rugby and Sri Lankan rugby, just move on, take one step ahead, give the young lads a chance, teach them what you have learned, teach them what you have to give, and then just see what happens in Sri Lankan rugby. I think that's the move to take for a lot of people. I've just named one. I don't mean to single out one player, but unfortunately I had to, because that was evident for a lot of people. But all in all, I see a lot of not a lot, I see a few people that could, from next season onwards, just take a step back and help the little ones or the young ones take on the bigger stage of Sri Lankan rugby and move forward. So from rugby, I'm going to move on to Sri Lanka's most beloved sport, cricket. It's been a heartbreak couple of weeks for most of us Sri Lankans who are hoping for a world triumph at the T20 World Cup on home soil. Unfortunately, not to be. Fourth final defeat for the Sri Lankan cricket team, and I saw a lot of people very distraught, very unhappy, very sad, and quitting on their beliefs. Very unfortunate, I think. I personally believe the team could have performed better. I think a lot of people did think along the same lines as well, but that wasn't to be the case, and ultimately I guess we all have to just move on. Sad stories that I've heard because of the T20 loss. I got to know a couple of people have committed suicide, directly related to the defeat that we had in the hands of, amidst the hands of the West Indies. Very unfortunate and absolute balls, in my opinion. Shouldn't be the case. We are turning out to be like a big neighbor on the other side of the Indian Ocean. I don't think that should be the case here in Sri Lanka. We've always been good supporters of cricket and cricket only. We've always valued the sport as a sport and nothing else. It hasn't been a case of life or death for Sri Lankans as far as cricket is concerned. We've always enjoyed the sport. We've always enjoyed being at the grounds. We've always enjoyed staying at a friend's place and watching the match. We've always enjoyed watching the match wherever we watched it. And that's about it. We never went on to burn things, vandalize public property, stab each other or hang ourselves, and I don't think it should be the case by any means. Very unfortunate. Commiserations and my thoughts are with the families who lost their loved ones because of this, but I really don't believe that believe that should be the case by any means. Just imagine what the cricketers must be going through when they get what they will go through rather once they get to know this. So just not on. I don't think that is the case. Getting back to the match, I think the middle order collapsed like a sack of jelly beans. Shouldn't have been the case. We had experience there. Jeevan Mendes, Angelo Matthews, Thisara Pereira, all knew what they were doing. They've been there before. They played cricket so long, almost throughout their lives. They make a living out of it, and in all reality, in all honesty, it is just a matter of taking the singles and at least till the 17th over, and then throwing everything at the West Indians. And if that was the case, we could have walked out with another world title, but not to be. I know it's easier said than done. I don't think I'll be able to even get my bat down on time if one of the West Indian bowlers is bowling at me. So I'm not saying I would have done better, but I'm just saying professionals could have done better. Having said that, good job on getting to the finals yet again. It shows some consistency. You have to side with the likes of Mahela and Sangha, and just back them up for hopefully a victory somewhere down the line in years to come. Do feel sorry for the two stalwarts of Sri Lankan cricket. They've been there for so long. The two of them, Mahela and Sangha, have been in 3 finals defeats, and just very unfortunate that had to be the case. Rather 4. Both of them been in 4 consecutive finals world title defeats, and you can only imagine how they must be feeling. They've done so much for Sri Lankan cricket. A lot of people, a lot of kids look up to them. Sri Lanka have come up bound by a long way from where we were in 1996 and so on to be where we are now. We've been a consistent test cricket side. We've won matches out of the subcontinent, which is a major deal if you really look at Sri Lanka's cricketing past. But unfortunately, these two lads have been deprived of one thing that they dearly love to have, if I'm guessing right. But all in all I can say is we just got to back them up, and hopefully in years to come they'll bring us a title. So moving on from cricket to rugby again, schools rugby. Let's talk about the knockouts, President's Trophy, Milo President's Trophy 2012. Organizers tried really hard, but I'm amazed. I can't wrap my head around this, in all honesty, as to how only 6 teams turned up to play this tournament. Namely Trinity, Isipathana, Dharmaraja, Wesley, and then we had Kingswood and St. Anthony's coming into play, and the likes of Royal, St. Peter's, Science College, all just missing from this tournament. Makes you wonder as to why. Few things that I can think of: fitness issues, and then the lack of players. Players have moved on, players have left college, maybe players are studying for A-levels. I don't know. One of the reasons that has been put forward is the fitness. Makes you wonder how fit Sri Lankan schools rugby really is. It's a pity that only 6 teams turned up. It's a really looked forward to kind of event in the school's rugby calendar. The only thing that comes after the league tournament. But having said that, seen a lot of heart by 2 fabulous teams, 2 teams from the B division of schools rugby, Dharmaraja and Wesley. I have to say I watched the semi-finals and I was impressed. The heart that they brought onto the field, the Dharmaraja and Wesley, they played against 2 of the top teams in schools rugby, the champions and the runners-up of the league tournament, that is Isipathana and Trinity. They played against those 2 quality teams and really tested those teams out. Both teams eventually, that is Isipathana and Trinity, came out victorious and now have come to the finals. I'm here in the grounds just before the start of play at the finals here. Trinity will take on Isipathana, but the road to the finals for these 2 teams, especially at the last hurdle, the semi-finals, wasn't easy. The likes of Udara and Seagirds for Wesley, they were really good. Dharmaraja had some class acts like Eka Nayaka. They really brought their A-plus game onto the field. They had a lot of heart, but both teams lost the game because they just couldn't play the 80 minutes, especially Dharmaraja. They were there for 60 minutes, but the last 20 minutes you saw why Isipathana was superior and is superior, because the last 20 minutes was totally Isipathana's. Isipathana played an 80-minute game, whereas Dharmaraja just could only play 60. Isipathana will always play the 80-minute game. That has been the case through and throughout. When it comes to Wesley taking on Trinity, same scenario. Fitness wasn't that much of an issue for Wesley, but they just didn't grab hold to their opportunities, kept on giving away possession, and that resulted in Trinity beating them, and then Trinity find themselves at the finals with Isipathana. Quite fitting, you'd say, ironic, because Trinity and Isipathana first and second place in the league tournament. Trinity was initially awarded the league championship, but then stripped of it for reasons beyond Trinity, but Isipathana rightfully getting the league title. You have to say there is no place for hanky-panky stuff in a sport. Vidyarth obviously did something wrong, and in the process made the whole league points table just shift this way and that way, and ultimately I believe the top two teams ended up at the top two, and now we have a golden opportunity today here at the President's Trophy final to find out who is really better than the other. But having said that, coming back to the tournament, the organizers should take some stick for not getting more teams involved in this tournament. You have to understand a lot of rugby players love to be part of the President's Trophy. This is where you get to beat your opponent only once, you get only to meet them only once rather, and you either go home or you stay and go on and advance in the tournament. Unfortunately, it only came down to 6. I can't wrap my head around as to why, but it's nice of the sponsors to step in and help the SLRFU in organizing this tournament. But having said that, I believe something better could have been done, should have been done, and must be done in the future. So folks, that's about it for the first ever video blog in the history of Sri Lankan sports journalism, the BoomShakalaka show. This is the first episode coming to an end. I brought this to you from the Royal College Sports Complex, where Isipathana will take on Trinity for the President's Trophy 2012. So the players are on the field warming up, and that is my cue to bugger off. Thank you very much for joining us. Until I meet you again, BoomShakalaka.